What's tea?
I don't know, friend.
Well, we gonna get into it. I'm Lee.
And I'm Max.
And this is the I Don't Know Friend podcast. We're gonna go ahead and start like usual with some hot topics. First one we got up for today is people accusing Latto of photoshopping the crowd at her Coachella set to make it seem bigger. When you actually look at the photo, you can literally see like people, like doubles of people and like two arms, and like it literally looks like it's doubled. So she eventually responded to it. She was just, what did she say? I'm pulling it up. She said, "Never photoshopped a crowd, LMAO. I expanded it so it would fit in my Instagram swipe without getting cut off, but it was clearly effed up, so I didn't end up using it and just posted the wrong version by accident on Twitter, babes." Next, with like the emoji that's like with the hearts all around the face. So she's trying to say that she didn't Photoshop it. She was stretching the photo and it somehow made doubles of people. So how do you feel about that, friend?
I feel like I have done that many a times, like minimized the picture, made it bigger, but it's never doubled the people. So I have to go and double check on that to see if that is, if I'm just missing something. But yeah, just own it. Just own it, girl. Just own it, because it's given. Well, I really don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say, because like I just said, when I minimize a picture or expand it, it doesn't create double the people.
If anything, it makes them look wide or just
right. So I'm just not. If anything, to be honest, it just makes the picture bigger.
Right.
Like, so I'm confused on how it made double the people.
Now
it's given Photoshop.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's given Photoshop, because why is it the same part? It was like multiple people, right? Not even just the guy with the waving hand.
Yeah, it was like a couple of them.
So
I mean, now I will say later she posted like a video showing the crowd, and it did look full. So maybe this is what happened. They forgot to get a picture when there was a lot of people there, and people left to try to make it to another one. Because, you know, Coachella, a lot of times, like those festivals, a lot of times people are performing at the same time. So they'll like come see like the beginning of one person's set and the end of another. So maybe a lot of people left, and so they photoshopped it to show how the big crowd looked, you know, at the beginning of the set. Maybe. That's me trying to be nice and giving the benefit of the doubt. Do I think that's what happened? No, I think they photoshopped it. But that's the story you should run with, Latto, and I think we will understand. Okay? Yeah. I don't even know what to say on that one, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go ahead and keep it on Latto, though, she did have some things going on with Coi Leray, since we're already on the subject of her. So she did put out a new song. I honestly forgot what the song is called.
I don't remember what it's called, but I did listen to the snippet.
Yeah, so I did listen to the snippet, didn't listen to the full thing. However, she said a line in the song basically saying, blunt big as Coi Leray. So basically saying like my blunt long and skinny. But Coi Leray didn't take it that way. She took it as shade, or she took it as Latto was talking about her. So Coi did say, if you don't like me, support me, or fuck with me, don't mention my name, period. Shit don't make sense. I don't know none of you bitches in real life. Stay in y'all lane and leave me out of the bullshit. I be minding my business and showing real love offline.
That was like afterwards. At first, she was going like mentioning Latto by name.
Okay. Catch me up if you're on the post. What did she say on that?
So first she was like, Latto bye, with like a sleeping emoji, I think. And then she goes, here you go talking about my body. Please don't come on here and talk about nobody's body. All caps. LOL, like seriously, out of all things, LMAO. Y'all, you blunt my size? LMAO. This shit is never ending. And then she replies to it and says, anybody that talk about my body wants my body, with like 10 exclamation points. Then she says, like, real bad, 5 or 6 D's. Then she goes, Lil Miss Pressure. That was another tweet. Then she goes, cause bitches want to be like niggas, maybe? It's blacked out. Niggas so bad. Y'all want to have rap beef so bad. That was the first thing she said.
And so it's giving Coi, you want to have a rap beef so bad. Because I'm just not understanding, like, why did... Coi just wanted an issue. It's given she wanted an issue. She's just been wanted to not like her. Right. So it's because that was not a diss. I didn't even think of it as a diss. She just saying, like, her blunts be long and skinny like you. Like, I don't understand how that's a diss. And especially if you love your body and you're comfortable with your skinny body, I mean, it was not a diss at all. I could see if she said, this ain't no Coi Leray, this a big band. I can feel she said something like that.
Right.
I would be like, okay, well, why are you talking about Coi? You know, like, why are you saying skinny girl? But it was nothing like that. So it was given Coi wanted an issue. Coi Leray is a Taurus, and I love my Taurus people. I love my Taurus sisters. However, girl, I can't stick with you on this. It's just giving you doing too much.
She is. It's weird. I feel like she's been wanting to fight for a little bit, you know. If y'all watch Don't Call Me White Girls podcast, then you know what I'm talking about.
It's given she been just on 100 since Nicki let Bia perform with her and not
her. Exactly.
Like, she's ever since that day, she's just been real kind of negative lately.
No, for real. She's fighting for a spot. She feels like she thought that was her moment and done.
Right, and her moment is it's kind of like, you know, it's not fading away. She did her little thing with the About to Catch Another Fight. That was a big song.
Yeah, it was.
All on TikTok and everything. Even though I feel like it was a bigger song when they did the TikTok remix. However, it was a big song for her. So, I mean, live in that moment. But right, I feel like she thought Blick Blick was going to be more of a bigger spot for her. Like, she thought she was probably going to take off from that. However, Blick Blick is still did good. So, right. I mean, you still did you. Just keep going. Don't try to focus on the negativity and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I feel about Miss Coi.
I feel you. Next, I think we'll go ahead and talk about oh boy Jonathan Majors. Allegedly there's been more abuse victims that have come forward, and they're now cooperating with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. And if you paid attention, this dropped the day after his management dropped him and 2 days after his PR team dropped him. So clearly they knew this was coming, and they're like, yeah, now we can't even rock with you like that no more, bruh. And I'm not gonna say I'm surprised. In fact, when the news first dropped about the situation itself with his girlfriend, a lot of people were like, who I guess have known him allegedly, were like, yeah, that checks out. He's always been kind of like this. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
However, I do think all abusers should be punished. So if he is indeed one, then we definitely need him up off these streets, regardless. And it's sad and unfortunate that he really was like, this was going to be his year. These next few years, he was really going to be that dude, and it got snatched from underneath him.
They was literally making Marvel deals, and they talking about replacing him with Damson now for his character. Like, it's a lot on the line for him. So yeah, it's very unfortunate because we want to see all our black people rise up, you know. But like Alicia said, you know, if you doing some things that ain't right now, you got to be dealt with, and you know, you got to be dealt with, and that goes to everybody. I love Chris Brown, but if you do things, I may, you know, try to defend it to a certain extent. But everybody has to be dealt with.
May try to defend. At this point, we're gonna move on to the next topic because we're not gonna spend the rest of the hot topics arguing about that. Um, so let's talk about NLE Choppa's baby mom.
Oh,
what is her name? Marissa Dene. Apparently,
yeah.
she was on Instagram Live going off about how she's been feeling about her new baby father.
Which just came out that they're having a baby.
That they're having a baby. She's upset, basically saying that he hasn't been there with her and some other stuff. What was she saying?
She was basically saying they both agreed to do this. She agreed to lay low, like just, while he do him and things like that. And she agreed to do the poly relationship. She agreed to the break, but she didn't agree to him just basically being single, which I feel like is what he was. Maybe that's what he was trying to tell her, just to be like, well, damn, she obviously not taking the hint of me saying I don't want to be in a relationship right now. So let me just throw this on her and let me just tell her that we're on a break. But basically, she is upset because how he's out here with Suki and the other girl, just doing him basically, throwing his shots at Megan Good, and she's basically like, in her head, they have been together this whole time. There was never no breakup. They were always together. She don't understand how he thought she wasn't down for him. She was having they were doing threesomes together. She was showing all of this, trying to prove to him like, I really want to be with you. I'm here. And now he's elsewhere, just paying for doctor's visits.
So was it IVF they did? Is that what he was paying for?
They did IVF. Okay, so a little backstory. They basically had they had a miscarriage. So he came out and basically stated, well, this is after the fact. She didn't came out. So he was doing an interview and they asked him about it, and he said that was more so like his I'm sorry gift to her. Like, I know you wanted this baby. I'm gonna pay for it. If I gotta pay for it for you to have this baby, we gonna have this baby. So yeah, he was with her, sticking her with the needle and all. She's pregnant now, halfway done. And he's made it to 2 doctor's visits. Ladies, stop making these men. And I'm not even going to say stop even making them, because at the end of the day, the man has a choice. So he did have a choice. He decided to pay for it. However, I felt like he was more so thinking in his head, okay, if I do this for her, she'll leave me alone. No, she wants you and the baby together. She don't want just the baby. She wanted you. And now it's like you didn't pay for her to get this baby. And now you even stuck with her even longer.
Let's not forget the age difference.
Let's say, let's just put it out there. So NLE is 20. My girl Marissa is 26. You're pushing 30, my girl. Yeah. What is going in that head for you to be blowing snot bubbles on live? Because a 20-year-old
over a 20-year-old. Like, that's embarrassing. That's not even legal to drink. I'm embarrassed. Be for real.
It's embarrassing. And to be honest, it's like the comments were like, regardless of the fact he should be there. Yeah, you're right. He should. We're not just saying
but
that.
But he wasn't there for you,
there.
so why would you think he would be there for the baby? Y'all, stop it. Stop it.
You.
Stand up.
That's what I'm saying.
Stand the fuck up.
Stand up. Because it's like, y'all blaming this 20-year-old child, this 20-year-old young man, like, she's way older than him.
Way older.
Like, it's not like
they would have never been in school together. Not even kindergarten.
Never.
Like,
so it's like you got to take this L. You wanted this baby, and now you got it. So
that's not true.
Have to eat this. But I feel bad for any like situation, but I feel like a man should always be there when a female is pregnant. You go through a lot of hormones, your body, like, things are changing. So I always feel like you should have a support system when you're having a baby. However, if it is bringing you down to where you're depressed and sad and it's just not fitting, girl, leave him. And if that's gonna make yourself, obviously not for her, but if that's what you got to do to make yourself feel at peace and happy during your pregnancy, do that.
Right,
Fuck
exactly.
these niggas, let them go. If they want to come back when the baby born and stuff, you can always give them a chance until it's like a point where they just playing in your face. Then bye. But girl, leave NLE in the dust. Girl, he is young. He is living his life. He tried to tell you he didn't want to be with you from the get-go, and you still wanted to be with him and wanted to do the break.
Exactly.
So it's just like, at this point, like, yeah, I feel bad, but girl, you just digging yourself in a deeper hole, sis. Especially with this baby.
It's
isn't this her first baby?
I don't know. I don't care.
Well,
honestly.
I don't know, but I know this is his second baby. And it took him a long time to get right with that one. Probably still getting right with that one. So, child, we spending a lot of time on them, but that was
for real. Either way, next topic is JT going at it with some haters in the comments. It was a picture of Uzi, and somebody tagged JT and said, "You really taking the city girls down." JT apparently was on one today and told her, responded and said, "Ugly baby and dead father with the crying emoji, cat face crying emoji." Then
let me just interject really quickly. JT is a Sagittarius, so they're very petty and hit below the belt. Go ahead.
Anyway, so then she goes, "That baby looks like finesse 2 times. Please leave me alone. I'm not bothering no one." And that was to a different person. And then responded to another person. She said, "No, it won't. I don't have to be nice. Be nice to people who's not nice to me. Period." I feel it.
I totally agree.
Honestly, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't talk about somebody's kid, because that would be a lie. I totally would talk about somebody's kid. If you're coming for me unprovoked, I won't be my first one. I'm going to go at you first. Then, if you come back for round 2, it's probably going to be your mama, your grandma, your auntie, all them, like the adults in your life that led you down this path that you don't need to be on, fucking with me. And then if you really want to come back for round 3, now I got to talk about your baby. But to be fair, I would take it to a different route. I would be like, I would say something like, "You out here looking for niggas, but your baby hair not done." You know what I'm saying? So it's talking shit, but it's also talking shit about you as a mother. It works on 2 levels. That's where I would went with it.
I get it. I get the difference that you're trying to say. However, I was just honestly having this conversation with a friend of mine, and we were basically like just stating like, we don't personally feel, and this was a conversation we were having, and I do feel like this myself. I could not talk about somebody's child. Now, if you talk about mine, I still feel like, me personally, I wouldn't let it go too far. Now, if I see you, that's a whole different situation. If I see you in person, that's a whole different situation. However, I'm not even like I don't even be in mess, to be honest, for somebody to even be talking about my child. But that's just not how I roll. I don't talk about people's kids. I'm gonna give this heat to you. You finna catch all this smoke.
If you go low, I'm taking it to hell. You should have never started with me to begin with. I don't be starting no mess. I'm finna talk about you.
Yeah.
Bad. Real bad. Some people,
and that's just what you have to deal with when you say something to somebody. You have
to be exactly
unprovoked say back to you
for whatever they're gonna say.
Right, so you can say literally just like how she said something to JT, and JT had every right to say something back to her.
Exactly.
You cannot blame somebody for how they react to whatever you're saying, and I'm gonna say that. So she did say
such thing as a fair fight, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Right, and if you know, you know. So she did say the baby looked like finesse 2 times, and I took that as your baby looking
like a grown man.
Your baby looking like a grown man. That's how I took it.
That's how I took it
finesse
too.
2 times took it as he's ugly, which he is.
He is ugly, and that's why he knew.
Maybe that's why he took it that way. That's
Hit
exactly
dog
why he
gonna
took it that
holler.
way. He know he's
He
ugly,
know he
so he
ugly.
took it as she was selling him out. So he gets on live, basically selling her back out and saying, he not gonna let no hoe get a pass. He stand on whatever. He
A
went
nigga just
low
like I'm
and
hard
Hold on, I
on
got a
no hoe.
plan.
Nigga can't say nothing to me about being hard on no hoe. Cause I stand on a nigga the same way. Never change. But one thing I ain't gonna do, man. I ain't gonna let no hoe get no pass. I'm hard on the hoe. A nigga just like I'm hard on the hoe. That white nigga can't say.
That's it. His voice sounds ridiculous. I didn't know he sounded like that. He sounds gross.
He looks even.
I mean,
gross.
yeah, he's not. I wouldn't even let him ride the elevator with me. If he was getting, we're both getting at the same time, I'm gonna take the next one. Cause what is you on? As soon as I heard his,
I don't know if you finna, the way you looking, I don't know if you want to bite me or something.
Right, and then the voice, if he were to be like, "What floor is you on?" I'd lose my mind. I'd pass out. I can't deal with this. I'm sorry. I got to go. So yeah, that was him responding to JT. Allegedly, he felt like she was calling him ugly. I think he knew he's ugly, and that's why he said that. But either way.
Right. JT has not responded, which she shouldn't.
She shouldn't.
Because it's just a waste of space. Like he's dragging it. She didn't call you ugly, but now since you're saying it, yes, you are ugly. However, I didn't say that.
He had his girlfriend saying stuff, his kids saying stuff. Like, you are just happy that JT even mentioned your name. I'm gonna be very honest with you. That just made your year. Like, if you were to die tomorrow, you would have died a happy man because JT just spoke on you. That's what you're giving, the energy you're putting into it. It's not that deep. Why you got everybody trying to come for this girl?
And then, oh man, you're training your man you training your son that look my son age. You're training him to talk to cuss. He was cussing,
all that.
Calling her all type of B's and this and that and that. Like, you're teaching your son how to talk to women.
No, for real. Look at you, baby. Stop it right now. Why he only got smoke for women? I ain't seen him beef with a nigga yet. Unlike what he said in this video. He's talking about Erica. He's talked about JT. He's gotten to a couple other little thingies, I think, like on the internet I've seen, but it's never been with no mans.
Right.
Oh, okay.
We don't like men that only argue with women.
Exactly, Patricia. Stop it. And also, Nene did not call Peter a bitch. She said he was acting like a bitch. That was a simile, not a metaphor. But anyway.
Of course.
Because there's a difference.
No.
Words have power. Well, there's a difference.
She said you need to stop being a damn bitch.
No, she said you need to stop acting like a damn bitch.
No.
Maxine.
You gotta go back.
Maxine. No. Talk about this next time. Okay, Cardi B reportedly wants to seize Tasha K's property to start collecting on her $4 million settlement. So she's put in paperwork for that. Go ahead and say what you think.
And a couple of people tried to read me because, of course, Messy Max gonna be in the comments. Tread lightly with the word. I basically was saying, Cardi, let it go. This lady don't even have. It's basically like you're asking, and I'm not even trying to call Tasha K homeless, and no way, shape, or form. But that's really like going to somebody that you know for a fact has less than you and don't even have twice, not even one. They're not touching your money, and you're basically begging for your money. And it's like you're not gonna get it. Like, you won. How do I feel like Tasha K? Okay, let me just say this. I feel like Tasha K was wrong for spreading all those lies. I do feel like that. If you want to shut somebody up or whatever for spreading lies about you, do that. I don't have no problem with that. However, when you so you won your case. At this point, why is it about I would just be more so like, I won. That's that. Now, Tasha K still do be saying little. Now, I don't know about lately, but I did catch her saying something in regards to Cardi. Maybe she did. I think she did. I think she did. But
what?
I feel like Cardi.
She did what?
I think she mentioned Cardi one time, like maybe not like the past couple of months, but after that happened, I ain't gonna say I know for a fact, but I think she mentioned Cardi name in a situation or whatever. Because I think they was like she's still talking, and I remember something like that. I just feel like Cardi is trying to drag it because, and I'm gonna say it because Tasha K is black, and I'm gonna just say it. I feel like she just doing it to be evil. She's purposely I feel like Cardi purposely does not want Tasha K to have a dime.
Okay, I am far from it. I don't call people outside
I'm
their name.
sorry, Peter. I didn't mean that you were, bitch. I mean you're acting.
I'm so far from it. I don't call people outside.
But you see, that's why she said sorry.
No. I'm going back. Hold on, because
she said
you
sorry.
know I had to.
Cause she said
I'm pulling it up. Hush. We gonna see.
We paused in the hot topics.
Hot topics for me to prove I'm right. Hold on.
Tell me I'm being a bitch. I'm far from it.
Dang, what part is it at? I thought I found it.
I never ever once called her outside of it.
I
passed it.
It's all coming from a good.
Right there. I think that's right there.
Feeling some kind of way. You and Peter
That's
should come
Cynthia
privately
talking.
and just went ahead and squashed it.
I'm gonna turn it up for
All
you.
coming from a good place.
Come here, man. Let me holler at you. Hold up, bro. Let me holler at you. Hold up, bro. When her and I were going at each other, and I said I was angry at her, I never ever once called her outside of her name.
See, no, this already happened. Hold on.
Greg. I hear you. Peter need to step
Boom.
in this.
Okay, I think I found it. We're so extra, but like.
in this room right now. Peter and Greg fighting is crazy. Greg, Nene. Yes, I hear you. Peter need to stay out of women's business, honey. Turn into old chick, honey. Girl, bye. Greg. Listen. Well, you guys both just listen. You guys are just upset. Listen. I completely understand how everybody feels, okay? I get all that.
No, it must not be in this clip.
With a bitch, but we are talking about Peter.
Oh.
That's crazy to call somebody a
No,
bitch.
it's not in this clip. It's not in this clip. It's not in this clip. Give me a second.
Check that, okay?
That was so inappropriate.
It's not inappropriate.
Okay, it's not in this clip. Nene Leaks.
This is just a very quick little segment, y'all, to prove that the source
To
is
prove
already
that Alicia is always right. This is. No, we're not even gonna do that. Hold on.
this
Ads.
No one's gonna
Hold
find
on.
us, right?
I can't skip the ads yet. Go to the next topic while we're pulling this up.
Peter, are you comfortable being around someone that you know that have slept with?
Oh, so yeah,
I
who's
hang out with
posting that?
Leon all the time, nigga. You had a baby with him, so I know you guys did it for sure. You know what I'm saying?
What's the next topic?
So, what is something you do to
I can't concentrate.
I just paused it, girl. Hush.
Okay, I did want to bring this up. Miss Nikki Baby and one of the Ball brothers. Which one is this? Leangelo. And I think he's the oldest, if I'm not mistaken. I think Leangelo is the oldest. He has a baby with Miss Nikki Baby. She's pregnant. So it did come out a while ago that they were dating. And it was just like, when I seen her, I'm like, child, of course. She's trying to get with a basketball player, with somebody with money. And let's just state the age difference here too. He's 24, she's 32.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming a trend for older women to be with these younger men, and I'm not with it. I don't like it. And I'm just gonna say that, like, it's really been bothering me. And even my mama brought it up. She was like, "Oh, so you just been doing you on your TikTok talk about these older women with these younger men." I said it's bothering me and my homegirls. It really is. But yeah, they're having a baby together. They actually look happy. So, I do wish them the best. I don't like them together, though. I will say that. It's just I'm not with it. Like, just date your... It's just so, like... And then Bernice is messing with... She's going with Jaylen Brown from the Celtics. Now, Bernice is definitely her late 30s. Got to be her late 30s, I think. I don't know if she hit 40 yet. And she may have. But Jaylen Brown is young. He can't be no older than like his 30s.
Lily said something to me, and I said, I'm mad at you.
Yeah, I don't like any type of large age gap. Men to women,
Yeah,
women to
men
men.
or women. I do feel like they throw so much heat on when the men do it though, and not the women. Like it's still equally.
It's equally as gross, equally as weird, equally as creep. And I'm not here for it.
Oh, it's coming up. She finna say it.
This is crazy. Am I the only sane person in this room right now? Peter and Greg fighting is crazy. I was not invited to me. That's not you. That you know. That's not you, Greg. So for you to be going off on me like I had did something that was up. Right. Somebody go. Please, Greg. You know, hold on, Greg. You know I'm not gonna be disrespected. Everything that I've worked so hard for seems to just be evaporating right before my eyes.
My friend have risen above so much, okay? And with 100 people there, you came in and you cut the way you did, okay? That's what I was upset about.
I get that.
Okay, all right.
Oh, this is not. When did they say it? She said it.
This is what you need to do. You need to stay out of women's business.
She's gonna say it now.
You are causing problems. You are the only husband, boyfriend, fiance that gets involved in women's business. We happen to like Peter a whole lot better than Patricia.
What woman business was I getting
You
involved?
always involved. What we do as women is between us. You need to roll with these fellas and not try to roll with these women.
With nobody, baby.
Okay, well, you need to stop trying to roll with the women, okay? You need to stay out of women's business. You stop trying to be a damn bitch.
And ladies and gentlemen,
that's not what you said. Stop trying to be a bitch. She didn't call him one.
You need to stop trying to. Alicia.
That's not calling him a bitch.
She called him a bitch. Mm. She said you need to stop being a damn bitch.
No.
Alicia, y'all, when y'all listen,
you need to
this,
stop trying to be.
She said you need to stop trying to be a damn bitch.
Okay.
Moving along. Do we even got more time for hot topics, child?
Not really. Was there anything else you wanted to discuss real quick?
Well, then was the hot topics because Alicia wanted to be petty, as all Sagittarius.
And I was right.
And
so
the Taurus had to prove her
right. And I was right.
So
it don't matter.
The Taurus had to prove her wrong.
I was right.
You're not right, Alicia.
I am.
So she physically had to say, stop being a bitch.
Yes.
But because she put trying in there.
Yeah. Yeah, you trying to be one of the girls. So if she said stop trying to be a woman, that would have been better. That's not what she means. Bitch like that. She meant bitch like a female. Exactly. But that's what she was using it synonymous with woman, not synonymous with the actions of being a bitch. So
she just say she said it wrong, and she corrected herself later. Anyway. Then that's when she cleared it up.
Anyway,
what she meant. Stop trying to be a bitch.
No. Anyway, let's move on to our next topic. We gonna get into some docket questions. So our first question is, do you cut other guys off in a talking stage?
I'm going first.
Yeah.
As far as like other guys or him?
I said other guys.
Meaning
you only talk, you don't talk to anybody else, you don't text anybody else, you're only talking to him.
It depends on what type of level we are at by that talking time frame. If I feel like how I am, if I'm just in a space where I'm just chilling, no, I'm not gonna cut the other one off for this one. However, I may give this one more attention. Mm-hmm. But I don't completely cut them off until I feel like I'm more so. It be the more so cutting off for me, to be honest. Like, if they do something that I'm not really rocking with no more, I'll cut them off for that. It don't necessarily have to be because I'm talking to this one dude. Now, I have cut other dudes off before for somebody. Yes, I have done that. But I do it at a point where I feel like I'm comfortable to be like, okay, I'm going to just leave them alone. Or maybe it could be something like, child, they ain't even really doing for me. They're not even doing for me. They're not even really meeting my needs anywhere. Like, it's not that.
Yeah, that's more for you than for him. I mean, you start talking to a dude, especially if they were asked to ask you to, or to say, "Are you going to?"
Of the story, my answer, my short answer is, I will, depending on the situation, depending on how I feel about it. Yes, I will cut somebody off for somebody.
My answer is no.
Well,
I'm never doing that.
No,
I'm never doing that. If you've asked me to, I probably said, I've told you no. If you've asked more than once and I said yes, I lied. I didn't do it. Just no. I'm not. I'm sorry. If we're not together.
Now, they always be in my back pocket. That's why I say it more.
That's why I said I don't cut them off. Like, no, they're still very much there. I could call him right now. He gonna pick up the fucking phone. Like, don't play with me. I don't care what you say. Until we are, like, you ask me to be your girlfriend, you take me to a nice restaurant and get them to write, "Will you be my girlfriend?" on the plate and chocolate sauce. I'm finna keep doing me. My roster stays. I have a starting 5 at all times. And let's keep it a buck. Because y'all be pissing me the fuck off. So when you make me mad, I'm not talking to you for the rest of the day. I move to the next one, okay? Stop playing with me. But that's just in a talking stage, obviously. Because I'm not a cheater. But don't ask me.
I'm not a cheater, but that can be another.
We've talked about it before.
Cheating?
Yes. Y'all see how she don't be paying attention? This is not the first time she's done that either. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm never gonna cut them off. And I feel like it's weird and a little bit like selfish for you to even ask that of me. Like, it makes me judge you.
Yeah,
if you're insecure, just say that.
Like,
Niggas
do that on my own.
I feel like they don't be wanting the competition these days. I like a healthy competition. I'm never intimidated by a bitch. So why are y'all intimidated? Like,
and to be honest, the only question I really ask these niggas at this point is, do you got a girlfriend? I don't even be like, do you even talking to somebody?
Yeah, because it's assumed. It's implied.
If you don't have a girl, now I'm not on that. Now, if you have a girlfriend, no. Like, I just don't get with the whole messing with somebody, man, and stuff.
Right, no.
Not even cute. It's just I don't roll like that. I know what that feel like. I'm not with that. But yeah, I don't even ask these niggas who y'all talking to because I don't give a damn. As long as you're entertaining me when you're in my face, that's right. What I care.
When I'm with you, I'm with you, and when I'm not, I'm not. And that's all you need to worry about. Stop it. And don't be making them little slick. This one dude was like, he was like, he must have the day shift, and another nigga has the night shift because he feels like I don't be texting him at night. Get off my phone.
And the other thing I don't like is my phone. Niggas like try to say if you was busy at the time and you respond late. I was doing this. Nigga, I can nigga.
I won't.
I don't gotta lie to you. Trust me. No, I don't have to lie to you.
Don't say that Lil must be with this nigga. I was. Every time he says it, I was. Why you sound like that? You must be with a man. I am. Because why would you even say that?
What are you going to say about it?
Now what? What's going to happen? Because I guarantee you can't beat me up.
You think I'm with a man that's going to beat me up?
No, for real. Like, stop. They're so annoying. Y'all are insecure. A little competition is healthy. May the odds be ever in your favor. If you are really that dude, you'll shine above the other ones, and I'll cut them off myself. You don't gotta ask me to.
It should be organic.
Thank you. Our other docket question is: would you give the engagement ring back if it didn't work out? It depends on who made it not work out. If he made it not work out, I'm keeping the ring. But if it was something I did or I called it off, I'd give it back.
I'm not mad with that answer.
Yeah,
I'm not mad with it. I feel like me, the person that I am, like, well, you know what? That was a pretty good answer. Because now that I'm thinking about it, if you did some shit to fuck this up and I'm so in love with you and I'm thinking we finna get married and the shit go left, get this ring back in blood, nigga.
Period. Period.
What? You're not finna. What? No.
The answer is no. I don't care if it was your great grandma's. It's mine now.
Girl, look, if it's documented down where I have to get a ring back, I give it back to you. But if it ain't documented and you mess this up, you ain't getting this ring back.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
However, if it was me, and say if it was a mutual thing, say if we finally came to a mutual thing,
I would give it back then too. Yeah.
And I feel like on some type of level like that, sometimes the man may not even, he may still just want you to keep it. Some men are like that, but yeah, if it's definitely my fault, I'm gonna give you a ring back. I don't see why women would even want to keep a ring that basically, especially if they messed it up. Mm-hmm. If y'all messed it up, why are y'all trying to keep these men? Like, come on now. Wedding rings are not cheap, y'all. Yeah. Not all of them.
Well, the one you finna give me ain't cheap, so.
Right. So like I said, if it ain't documented, I'm this damn ring.
Period. So speaking of engagement rings, we're gonna go ahead and get into this little like game I came up with about the show Love is Blind. So Max has not watched the new season. I did. So basically, I am gonna give her kind of like a rundown of what happened between the couples, a little bit of backstory information about each one. And she's essentially gonna have to guess if they ended up getting married or not, or if they, made it to the altar, all that kind of stuff, basically. So I did make a little like web flow chart of the names to make it a little bit easier. I'll post it on my Instagram for y'all so y'all can follow along if you haven't watched it. I literally gave a full breakdown to my homeboy the other day, and he was actually paying attention. Like, I wasn't expecting him to. I just wanted to run my mouth. But I was like, where did I leave off? And he told me. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm clearly entertaining. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with that. So show starting. We've got the first couple that I'm going to talk about is Kwame, the first person, I guess I should discuss. So Kwame is black guy. I don't know if he's actually from Ghana or his parents are from Ghana. Either way, he African. He used to play professional soccer until he had like a career-ending injury. That's alleged because people on the internet were saying they couldn't find any soccer stats for him, but that's what he told us. So we'll go with it. He used to play soccer. Now he does something. I don't know. He's got like degrees. He does some corporate-y. So he came to love.
Does he look like?
The what? No. This is the one with the Stephen A. Smith hairline.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. So, which they fixed it. And the barber who fixed it posted the TikTok, like, of him doing the haircut. And I'm like, ooh, you're doing the Lord's work. But anyway, yeah, so this is him. So he gets into the pod. He told a little story of just, like, how hard life has been, dating-wise, and oh my gosh, I couldn't even pick up my prom date from her house because of racism and because I'm black, aka he's telling us he's always liked white women and that is what he's going for. So he's in the pods. He's talking to Micah, a blonde white girl, and Chelsea, a blonde white girl. He doesn't obviously know for a fact what they look like, but you can tell. So for the most part. So with Chelsea, you can tell she's just super into him. She's very, like, affirming and affectionate with him as far as, like, how much she likes him. And, oh, my gosh, I want to have a spiritual connection with my husband's body and all this, like, weird extra shit. Yeah, her. So she's very just hard-pressed into him. And she doesn't seem to have made any other connections with anyone else. They don't show her making connections with anyone else. So she's just all in for Kwame. Kwame's also talking to Micah. Micah is not as, like, overtly affectionate. She's a bit more quiet, honestly. Like, I really couldn't tell you anything about her besides the fact that she's a blonde white girl and that she's kind of a bitch. But other than that, I couldn't tell you anything. So she does stuff, I guess. She had a lot of guys interested in her, but she ended up making connections with Kwame and Paul. Paul is a white man, dark hair. Looks like a regular white guy. So it got to a point where Kwame was digging Chelsea, but really wanted to see how things were going to go with Micah. So they end up having a conversation. He's saying, you know, I have a connection with somebody else. It's super deep. She really does, like, affirm me and make me feel wanted and all of this. And that's something I feel like I'm kind of missing from you. Micah, you could tell, got, like, to me, it seemed like she got a little bit jealous hearing that. And I was just like, well, that doesn't mean that the feelings that she have aren't real. But she still really, you know, she does really like him. And so that was pretty much it with that. He was like, he's needing, like, more affection from her. And she was just like, well, that's not really me. That's pretty much how the conversation went. So with Paul, it was a similar situation of him being very interested in her. I left somebody off the chart. Damn it. I'm sorry, y'all. Paul also had a connection with another white girl named Amber. Amber, she's not if I were to describe Amber, I would say she was someone I would actually get along with, versus Micah, who is someone I would probably have to cuss out on a daily basis, if not hourly. Amber seems really down to earth, really kind of goofy, funny, like she had a personality. So Paul and Amber had a very strong connection as well. One of the last days in the pod, Micah's having a conversation with Paul, and she's like, well, let me backtrack. So the way Love is Blind is set up is all the women kind of have their area and all the men have their area. So at one point, Amber is they're all in the lounge, and Amber is talking about how much she likes Paul and her feelings toward him and all this kind of stuff. You could see Micah in the back kind of like side-eyeing her. You could tell she was feeling away, is hearing all this. So she ends up, when she has her date with Paul, she ends up telling him, you know, I do really like you. I feel like my connection with you is stronger than my other person. I think we should cut our other people off and just talk to each other. Reluctantly, and I say this because he genuinely looked like he was reluctant about it, agrees. Paul agrees to do that. So eventually Micah breaks up with Kwame and Paul breaks up with Amber. Now, Paul, when he's breaking up with Amber, he's crying. It's a whole thing. And if you're breaking up with me, I do not want to see your tears. It was too damn much. Which is why it makes me feel like he really wasn't sure about Micah, and for whatever reason, he just went along with it. Because it seemed like it was actually kind of hard for him breaking up with Amber. When Micah broke up with Kwame, she was literally like, so I think you're cool or whatever, but I think I just want to pursue my other connections. And Kwame's like, all right, cool. I wish y'all the best, and walks out. When I tell you, when they cut to him in the lounge, that man is like on the counter, snot-nosed crying, like Summer Walker sliding down the wall. He's heartbroken. Like, that man is going through it, like legit crying on TV for everyone to see over this girl. Like, his heart was shattered. And so she basically broke up with him immediately, came back into the pod. So she was came back into the lounge. So her and her little friend, Irina, are like giggling and waiting for Amber to come back into the lounge, crying, knowing that they just got broken up with. So the longer it's taking, the more Micah is getting nervous. Like, oh my gosh, he didn't do it. Like, what's taking so long? Eventually, she does, come in there, and you can literally see Micah smile. Like, anyway, so now Micah and Paul end up getting engaged. So the day after, and Chelsea hears all of this going on in the lounge. So the day after Kwame got broken up with, he ends up proposing to Chelsea. She pretended like she was reluctant, but of course was super excited and super happy because she wanted her a black man's, and she caught her black man's. So now Chelsea and Kwame are engaged. Micah and Paul are engaged. Next love triangle we'll discuss is Zach. Zach is a lawyer, a defense attorney. He reminds me, have you ever seen Scrubs? He literally
I know the show, but I don't think I've ever watched it.
He looks like the white guy on there. Like, the way he be doing his hair, like, sticking up a little bit. He literally looks like...
it's Scrubs. Have you ever seen Monster-in-Law with Jennifer Lopez and...
yeah.
Is it the husband?
No.
He playing Scrubs?
No. I know who you're talking about. He does look like somebody in it, but it's not the same person. But yeah, either way, Zach, like, a little bit weird looking, not ugly, not like, he looks like a regular white guy, but like just a little bit off. Either way, that's him. He's very nerdy, very dorky, and so he had a connection with Bliss and Irina. Irina was one of the villains of this season, very much petty, very much mean girl. The way I described it is that Micah was Regina George and Irina was Gretchen. So she was a mean girl, but she was just like running behind Micah the whole time, and they're, you know, talking crap about all the other girls and all this other stuff, like being messy. So like when, you know, Amber came back in the room crying, Micah sent Irina to go hide and listen to what she was saying. Irina's doing it and like laughing, and they're going over there and like kikiing, like laughing at this girl crying. And they're all in their late 20s. But anyway, like both of them are they're like late 20s, early 30s.
I wouldn't even do that. Like I said, girl, you too grown.
For real. So yeah, that's the kind of person she is. So it ended up being Zach's birthday in the pods. Bliss baked him cupcakes and all this other stuff. Irina apparently had forgotten that it was his birthday. And so she ends up asking Bliss for one of her candles. And Irina, Bliss is like, no, please don't talk to me. Like, she was just like, why would you even ask me that? That's weird.
Right.
They know that they're talking about the same person. Exactly. Knowing all of this. So Irina has her date first, and so she like says happy birthday and da-da-da. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I should have had the room decorated. I take birthdays really seriously. He's like, oh, you know, it's cool. I appreciate you. You know, wishing me happy birthday, but eventually she admits she had kind of forgotten.
Let me just say, I would never be able to go on the Love Is Blind.
Girl. I would do it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I totally would do it.
I got a jealousy instinct. No, ma'am.
I know you do. I could definitely do it, though. I'm not worried about them hoes.
Once I got my eyes on the one I want. You talking to who? You been where? Well,
And it usually ends up that they kind of click up to where they're not talking to people who are talking, like they're not friends with the people with the same guy, but they're interacting, so they hear it. You know, they're all have to be. I think they like have to be in the lounge a lot, so they kind of hear the conversations, but they're not like in their face. But yeah, Irina is like eventually admitted she'd kind of forgotten, and she kind of tells a little bit of what her version of what happened with Bliss, and just saying how, like, you know, she feels like people don't like her and she just misunderstood, and but it's just really hard, and you know, oh, I'm about to cry, like it's just so much, you know, whatever. So he feels bad for her. So then when Bliss comes in, he ends up mentioning that she brought it up, and Bliss is telling the real tea that Irina is trash and everybody hates her, but to him it's seeming like she's just being like a hater toward Irina, you know, because he doesn't see that petty side of her. So they end up eventually Bliss is like, if you do end up picking her, it's gonna be a really good indication to me of how you judge people's character or something like that, which I guess really hurt Zach's feelings. And therefore, he ended up picking Irina. So him and Irina get engaged. Now, on the show, they don't get to meet until after they get engaged. They have, like, that next day, they get to have, like, a little first look, if you'll call it that. Irina, it was very clear that she was not attracted to Zach, did not like him. It was just very awkward, their meet, like the hug. She, like, you know, tried to keep a little distance. He ended up asking if he could kiss her.
Given the first season with Cody.
Yes. That's how it was given. He was like, can I kiss you? She was like, no, a hug is good for now. And just like very like distant. And then she said that in her confessional, she was like, she didn't expect him to be so weird looking. He doesn't look weird. He literally looks like a regular white guy. I think his hair was weird, and Bliss definitely got him together. But, I mean, yeah, his hair was weird. But, yeah, it was ridiculous. So, now Irina and Zach are engaged. So, then there is the love triangle of Jackie, Marshall, and Josh. Now, it has now come out that there was more to this story. There were actually 8 couples that got engaged, and they just only followed 5 of them. So there's more to it, but that's not what's shown on the show. So I'm just gonna talk about the show for right now. So Jackie is 26. Marshall is probably 28. I don't know how old Josh is, but I would say he's somewhere around that age. Couldn't be more than 30. Marshall is very much more, he's very laid back. You can tell he's like a genuinely nice guy, like really in tune with his emotions. He's cool, like he would be like, he's like chill, you know what I'm saying? So him and Jackie got along because they could have really deep conversations and kind of talk about different things, like their trauma, and it was very just like mature. It was a far more mature relationship than with Jackie and Josh. Josh, they kind of just, I guess, like goofed around. They really didn't show too much of the Jackie and Josh together, but what they did show was very, like, kiki and giggling. It wasn't nothing like deep for real. So at one point, I guess Marshall was like, you're gonna come on with me, so I don't even worry about it. Jackie liked that, and so she was like, you know what, I'm gonna cut the other person off and just talk to you. Now, it's important to note, Josh and Marshall were actually friends. We didn't know this in the show, but they were actually friends, like close. And they would talk about, Marshall would talk about Jackie to Josh. Josh wouldn't really talk about Jackie to Marshall. So Marshall did not know that Josh was the other person that she was talking to. She would always just say the other person. So she ends up like that next day crying, like being really upset or crying, and kind of telling him how she couldn't cut things off because he had told her that she was basically the only reason he was there, and that if it wasn't going to be her, he was just he'd pack his things, because if it wasn't going to be her, there was no reason for him to be there, and he was just going to leave early and just be done with it, and like all of that. And so I guess that made Jackie really feel bad, so she started crying and all of this. Marshall felt like it was a bit manipulative, so he was really angry about it, and like, why would he even like say that? Like, even if that's true, that's not something you should be putting on her and making her feel bad. Like, he bossing up a little bit. How you gonna make my girl feel like that? That's literally how he was acting. So when he got back in the lounge, he's like, somebody was manipulating us, not knowing who it is. Eventually, Josh turns around and is like, you're talking about me. Marshall, you can see in his face now when you look back on it, he was genuinely shocked, and it's because they were friends. But, and Josh is just like, he didn't really mean it any, like, a specific way, like that, like, for her to get so upset about it. He didn't think it was gonna...
saying, like, I don't really want to talk to nobody else.
That's what he was alleging. That's what he's alleging. That he wasn't being manipulative. But I can't
ask, why would you tell her that? Now
right.
She's gonna feel bad.
Right. He was being manipulative. He's just gaslighting now. Like, he really was. Right. Especially because...
And the child knowing me, I wouldn't have took it no type of way.
She did. She did end up picking Marshall. She didn't even see Josh again. She just, like, stayed with Marshall, and they got engaged. Back, real quick side note, Josh apparently did get engaged to, he was one of the people that got engaged to somebody else. And apparently he had told the other girl the same thing he told Jackie.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, yeah, that's that. The third couple is Tiffany and Brett. They didn't really have, like, a love triangle. They pretty much gravitated toward each other really quickly. Marshall apparently told Brett about Tiffany. Like, they had a couple dates, but they had a large age difference because Tiffany's like 36, and so they of course ultimately decided it wasn't going to be a thing, but he thought she was a really nice person, stuff like that. And he basically told Brett that he felt like Tiffany was going to be his match, and kind of nudged him that way. And then they had like their dates, and they were just like the perfect couple. They were like Cameron and Lauren from the first season, but
okay,
low-key even better, because they're just like deep in it, very cute. He's very cute. Like, them as a couple, very cute. She did fall asleep on him on a date right after she told him that she was falling in love with him, and he was saying it to her, but she literally dozed off, and so he got pissed about that, but she apologized, and then he proposed to her that day. He was so pissed, like, he's done, and you know how niggas be, but the next day he was over it. So that's really them. Once they get into Mexico, is when they eventually get to meet all of the other people. Like, the girls get to meet the guys that are all on the trip. So, of course, Kwame gets to see Micah for the first time. They end up having a little conversation. It was like maybe 10 minutes or so, whatever. It wasn't that eventful. Fine. As time is going on, you know, they're talking. Brett and Kwame are talking, like standing out at the pool. Chelsea is in the pool with one of the other girls. I don't know. And she ends up, like, asking him to get her, like, when he's done with the conversation. She was like, babe, when you're done, can you get me some chips, some guac, blah, blah, blah. Irina and Micah, being their messy selves, it's like, Irina's like, Kwame, can you get us some tequila shots when you're done? And he's like, oh, you want some tequila shots? Get out and get them yourself. And so, eventually they do get out and get them. And, like, they're trying to say stuff like, oh, Irina's...
so he wasn't talking to the one that he's engaged to.
Yeah, no, he had, you know, said yes to her. He said no to the one that broke up with him and her friend, because they were just being messy, you know. They literally did it right after she did it, so they were clearly being shady. So they get out the pool to take the shot, and Irina's like, yeah, this is how you be a friend, da da da. He's like, okay, like, whatever. Then Micah, when they're about to cheers or whatever, she goes, cheers to a failed engagement. And Kwame just puts the shot down and walks away. Brett is like, oh, wow. And, like, turns around. And they're just, like, laughing, Irina and Micah. Because, again, mean girls. Eventually, Kwame decides that they need to have a conversation about this. So they end up proceeding to have a 20-minute conversation off to the side, mind you. They're not in the mix at the pool party. They're, like, off to where you really can't see them unless you're, like, looking for them. At some point, he quote unquote checks her. She's like, I didn't mean it in no kind of way. Clearly lying, because yes, you did. But either way, they're just still talking. Like, the conversation didn't need to go on, and it was literally 20 minutes. And at some point, they're holding hands, not like interlocked, but like cupped hands, and they like hugged multiple times. It was just very, like, he was still feeling her, clearly, obviously. They just broke up 3 days ago, but you know. Anyway, so Chelsea gets mad, walks off. He ends up leaving with her. She checks him. He apologizes. Whatever. Jackie, at some point during the show, during Mexico, has some type of weird mental breakdown. Like, she's just boohoo crying. Marshall's trying to console her. He doesn't really know what's wrong or what to do. Later, he kind of found out a little bit of it, but not for real. But he knew they had been drinking a lot, so he figured that had something to do with it. Either way, she's crying. He's trying to console her. He's like, need some water, da-da-da. She's like, yeah. He brings it to her. She calms down a little bit, tosses the bottle back to him, and says, put that back in the fridge. And walks away. Just like that. She goes, put that back in the fridge. And everybody on the show was like, what? Like us, viewers. Marshall, you know, just did it, whatever. Because he's a nice guy. So, eventually, Zach ends up confronting Irina about how clearly she's not into him. And eventually, she is like, yeah, I'm not. And so he's like, okay, cool. We should just break up then. Because, like, you're not even trying to get to know me. And it's just, like, weird. So, they end up breaking up in Mexico. And that was pretty much it. So they all make it home, back to their, apartments. Zach meets up with Bliss, and eventually they go on a couple dates, and they end up getting engaged. So now he's engaged to Bliss. For the most part, everybody's parents were cool with it, except for, or family was cool with it, except for Kwame's mom. Kwame's mom didn't want to be on the show, didn't consent to her voice being on the show, none of it. And Bliss's dad, he was on the show, but very vocal about not liking the situation, not thinking it was a good idea, thinking it was weird, like, very vocal about it.
I feel like my mama would be one of them people very vocal that she don't like it.
My thing is, why don't y'all tell y'all parents what y'all are doing before you're gonna go on the show?
Right.
If you're gonna do it anyway, just let them know so that they're not blindsided and looking like an ass on TV. Like, why?
Because I'm pretty sure it ain't nothing that confidential to where they can't tell their parents that they do the show.
Literally,
so I would just let them know before.
They do be telling. Some people do tell them beforehand. Yeah. Other people don't.
Or some people just really, because Lauren daddy did not like it.
Yeah, no, a lot of them wouldn't. I mean, like, I would tell my mom, she would say, like, her stuff, but I would tell her beforehand.
Right, but if you said on what
it's not going to stop me. Like, I'm
grown. Right, just have I'm just saying, have a conversation.
Exactly. It's so weird. It's so weird. But, yeah, so his mom was not at all
that
cool
way,
with
if
it.
they don't like it from the get-go, I mean, they can just stand on it.
Right, exactly. So... Eventually, Jackie and Marshall start having some arguments. And what essentially started the argument was that in a confessional, they didn't actually air this part, but in a confessional, Jackie ends up saying that Marshall needs to be more aggressive. And when she came home and told him, he felt some type of way about that. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, aggressive? I'm not gonna be aggressive towards you. Like, I don't get it. And then eventually she decided to try to clear it up and be like, he needed to be more. No, I think she said originally she told him he needed to boss up. That's what she said in the confessional, is that he was gonna need to boss up. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Then later she was like, she decided to change it and say she wanted him to be more aggressive, speaking specifically to aggressive in the bedroom. And so they end up having an argument. He goes home for like 2 days, like back to his actual apartment, not in their home. When he gets back, Jackie is packing up her stuff, like she's gonna leave. So they're just having arguments at this point. Like, she keeps having breakdowns about like her family and like whatever, how this is gonna work with them and stuff like that. Her parents weren't on the show at all, none of her family. And so it was just like a really weird situation. They're just like starting to bicker a lot. You could tell she was starting to not really be in it anymore. And so once they got time for them to go to their dress fitting. Actually, no, backtrack. Chelsea had a birthday party. Call me through a birthday party for Chelsea. Now, at some point during this birthday party, he goes and has yet another deep, meaningful conversation with Micah for several minutes. Like, at least 10 to 15. At his fiance's birthday party. I don't even remember what they talked about. It wasn't that relevant, but it was just the fact that you're taking time out of your fiance's party to talk to
right, that's what I'm saying. What was the purpose of this?
Yeah, it was like, I don't even remember what they talked about. So clearly it wasn't relevant. But yeah, that wasn't to know. But at this party, all the cast showed up. So people who didn't get engaged showed up as well. So Josh ended up showing up there. And that's the first time Jackie and Josh saw each other. They ended up having a conversation. So, I don't know if it was that next day or like a few days after that. But either way, it was time for their... during this conversation with Jackie and Josh was like... Jackie was saying how, they didn't have a deep connection, but she didn't know her feelings toward him. She didn't know his feelings toward her for real because they never said anything. He's like, no, I had all these feelings. I just didn't express it, blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, I didn't know. Josh was clearly drunk and, like, nobody really wanted him there. It gets out, everybody was annoyed and, like, oh, my gosh. When he was walking up to them because he was, like a yelling drunk. And so, yeah, him and Jackie had that conversation, expressing their feelings or whatnot. And Jackie admits that he actually looks really good. And she had already admitted Marshall wasn't really her type. But anyway, because, that's the one with like Jesse Williams, Marshall. And so, when it's time for their dress fitting, tux fitting, Jackie doesn't show up. And Tiffany told Brett, who told Marshall, that Jackie didn't show up. So he clearly knew she wasn't trying to get married at this point since she didn't get the dress. So I'm going to go ahead and stop right here. I'm going to have you guess what her reason was for not getting married.
Because he wasn't good in the bedroom?
No. Which is interesting that she fake wanted to bring that up after the fact, but during the show she talked about how big he was and that she was sore from it and all this extra stuff. And she wasn't even saying it directly to him, she was saying it to the other girls. But that's something that came out after but that's not the reason she gave to him. So she basically says she doesn't think she's ready to get married. She doesn't even know if she wants to get married. And she's not really interested in him anymore. She's going to start dating Josh. And like I said, now we know Josh was engaged himself. So he was engaged, broke up, and got with Jackie. Jackie was engaged, broke up, and got with Marshall. While they're getting their tests, their tux, dress fittings and stuff, Jackie is meeting up with Marshall. I'm not with Marshall, with Josh. Now, that's how the show shows it. Jackie's trying to say that's not the timeline, but I don't believe it. Because when she's breaking up, she says, I just saw Josh, and so this is why I'm breaking up with you. So I think she decided to date Josh, kissed him, then broke up with Marshall after the fact. And that's the story I'm sticking with. She is a cheater. I don't care what she says on Instagram. Anyway, so they're broken up. And so now the couples that end up making it to the altar are Zach and Bliss, Kwame and Chelsea, Micah and Paul, Tiffany and Brett. Based off of all the backgrounds, let's start with the first one, easy one. Tiffany and Brett, do you think they got married?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that was right.
Okay.
That was easy. I mean, there was literally no drama for me to even talk about.
Right.
Anything. She had a breakdown. Like, she got overwhelmed, and he had a really nice thing for her. That was it. Like, there was no drama. Let's do Zach.
And that's what you said with, like, Cam and Lauren.
Yeah. Okay. Zach and Bliss.
Zach and Bliss.
So Bliss.
Yes.
You think they did get married? So you're right, they did.
Okay. Because I'm like, yeah, he ain't had no.
She gave him the second chance after he picked somebody else. So at that point, it's like, you know, she was. They're like a match made in heaven. And when they met, he said something so telling. He said she doesn't look. Basically saying that she doesn't look the way he pictured her. She doesn't look how she expected. She's very nerdy like he is. So he expected her to look like a plain Jane. And I feel like that's kind of why he went with Irina. Because they didn't have... Like, you could tell Irina's not smart. You know, she just didn't give that nerdy vibe. Right. No, for real. And so he picked Irina, not knowing Bliss was the prettiest girl on the show. She is so gorgeous. She's super nerdy. But she's like... I don't know what she's mixed with. She's like black and something, but black and white maybe. I don't know. Either way, super gorgeous, like tan skin, pretty, boom. She gives all the vibes. So yes, they did get married. Now let's do. I forgot to leave. I left something out with Micah and Paul. At some point, Irina, when she was breaking up with Zach, admitted that she was actually more attracted to Paul, and they'd had a couple of conversations, and that she actually liked him. So at one point, she ends up telling Micah that she had a crush on Paul. Paul and Micah had a conversation. He said he kind of figured she did. He didn't bring it up just because that's her friend, and blah, blah, blah. He didn't think she was really going to do anything until they actually broke up. Until she broke up with Zach, and she's like, oh, that's kind of weird. She was flirting with him, and it was like a whole thing. So
wait, yes. Michael was flirting with Paul?
No, Irina was flirting with Paul. Irina was the girl that was with Zach and Michael's best friend. So if you look at the chart, Irina and Micah, friends. And yes, she was flirting with Paul. Okay. So that happened. A little bit more backstory on Irina, Micah and Paul. There's really nothing. They didn't have any drama per se. Or no, Micah's friends did not told Micah not to marry Paul. Like, straight up, you shouldn't marry him. I think it's a bad idea. I don't, very adamant, very vocal about her thinking it's a bad idea. And so that was, a thing, because Micah's like, well, I don't know. And Micah also is bi-coastal, I guess. She lives both in Seattle and in Arizona. And so she would want him to go back and forth. He wasn't really adamant about it at first, but then agreed. He was reluctant, but agreed to it. To do that. But both their parents were cool. Were fine with everything. It worked out. So, do you think Micah and Paul got married?
Yeah.
No. They did not. Who do you think broke it off?
Michael.
Paul.
For
Paul
what?
said no at the altar. He just said he didn't think they were ready yet. He also mentioned that he couldn't picture Micah being a mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
That's
later,
kind of deep. That's hurtful.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, if it's your truth, it's
I mean,
your
not
truth.
everybody wants, a child. But if somebody told me that, I'd be like, and why would you say that? What gives you that?
Because Micah's a bitch.
Oh, okay. So
I mean, that's not why he said that, but I feel like she deserved it, and I don't feel bad when she was crying about it. I was just like, oh, well, shouldn't have been talking shit. Okay, and then the last one is Kwame and Chelsea. Do you think they got married? Okay, let me preface this. So, as expected, Kwame's mom did not show up to the wedding. But his alleged sister and brother did. I say alleged because a lot of people think that was a paid actor, not his actual sister. So they did come and were like, oh, they approved, blah, blah, blah. But Kwame said he didn't want Chelsea to take his last name until his mom approved of it. So there's that. He also wants them to go 50-50 on bills.
Girl, listen here.
He also, mind you, why would your mom need to prove? Isn't that your dad's last name? Your dad doesn't know about it either. He hasn't told his dad either. But anyway, Chelsea was very upset about that. And he's the one who said he wants them to go 50-50 on bills. I will say, he was living in Portland, Oregon at the time, which is like 2 or 3 hours away from Seattle. And Chelsea was very adamant about wanting to stay in Seattle. So he did agree that he was going to move there. And so a little bit before the wedding, he was just saying like he felt like he was going to be making a lot of sacrifices and compromises. He's the type of person who likes to compromise to the detriment of his own feelings. And so he was concerned that he was going to keep giving Chelsea whatever it was she wanted, and he wasn't going to be doing what's best for him. So he was a little bit nervous about being able to live his own life going into the wedding, up to the wedding. So do you think they got married?
No.
They did.
I knew you was gonna say that. I had a feeling it was gonna be. I had a feeling she was gonna be the one to just stick that bullshit out, cause that's some bullshit. His demand is some bullshit.
Listen, they're together. Yeah, more stuff happened. Like I said, this season was very drama filled. A lot of stuff came out after the fact. Some text messages leaked between Jackie and her alleged friends. I say alleged because why are you leaking your messages? Of her being like she feels like Marshall's a little bit gay, and I feel like that's why she didn't want to be with him. You remind that made me think of you when I was watching it. But yeah, that's why she wasn't, and that the fact that they weren't having a lot of sex and all this stuff. And so when people were asking him about it, he's like, we didn't do it because she was having, he said, feminine problems. We know it was a yeast infection because in the messages she said she had a yeast infection. Either way.
My God.
So,
these messages may be real.
No, it's 100% real. She was calling him all kinds of, so yeah, just saying that.
You saying alleged. Oh, okay, got it.
I said her alleged friends because they leaked them. But no, they're real. So basically saying, like, her friends were like, oh, just make it to the altar. Oh, you got this. Like, that's all it takes. Very much, so it's very clear that she just wanted to be on the show for the clout.
Right.
And
so that's the one that ain't get a damn ring back.
Right. She's the one who didn't want to give the ring back during the whole when they were breaking up. She claims that she felt like he was going to give it to another. She knew he was going to try to propose to another girl to stay on the show. What? and that's why she said no. Which, you got in a whole other relationship before you even broke up with him, so why do you care? But yeah, that's allegedly why. He's like, that's not at all true. He just didn't want her. He took a lot of time picking that ring out, and so he just didn't want her to have it. It was a token of his love, and she clearly didn't love him and whatever. But he didn't pay for it, so he just didn't care. He was like, whatever. In the reunion, which was terrible, it was supposed to be live for some reason, and they couldn't get it together.
Talking about that.
So in the reunion, basically Kwame's telling some revisionist history, like, oh, I was gonna break up with Micah anyways. I wasn't really worried about it. I wasn't even upset. Blah blah blah. Baby, they got 10 minutes of you crying. So I don't know what you talking about. You wasn't upset.
He was crying.
He was sliding down the wall, like he had, not literally, but he had his head like on the counter, half on the counters. But they like zoomed in. You know how they're messy. Zoomed in so you can see his face. You can see the tears falling. You can literally see them dropping. He was so hurt. And yeah, it was just the whole thing. Very, very messy. Very much a shit show. Josh is messy. Josh and Jackie are still together. A year later, so good for them. Especially since she had never been in a relationship before, allegedly, apparently. So, yeah. Marshall. I like Marshall, honestly. I would fuck with him. But he lives out there. So that's neither here nor there. Either way, that was my Love is Blind recap. That went long as hell. I'm sorry, y'all. But I be talking. That is gonna wrap up our show this week. I want to thank y'all for listening. Be sure to like and share this podcast. Rate it for us wherever you're watching, Spotify or Apple Music or Google. I think all of those have ratings, and Amazon. Share it with your mama, share it with your cousin, share it with your sister. All that shit. Anything else, friend?
That's it. No, you said everything.
All right. I hope y'all have a good week. Stay messy.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.